So you've just released your new book, Culture Rules. I think it's your 11th book. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I believe we first met while you were working on your first book, The Secret, which would have been back in 2008, 2007.
Earlier than that. We met over 20 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
I'm getting older than I thought.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Happens to the best of us. As an author, how is it different writing your 11th book than your first book or your 5th book? And what's that experience like?
Well, it's been fantastic. And I know you've done 30 plus, so I think you'll connect with this. Every book for me is a new adventure because it's typically a new topic area. Now, I tend to stay in the lane of leadership, but as you well know, it's a huge topic. It's a huge field. And so if we're going to talk about engagement or high performance organizations or culture, it's for me, it's like, okay, what's universally true about this subject? And I usually surround myself with a lot of really smart people on a research team, and we'll spend months and months and months and sometimes years trying to figure out what those truths are. And then we translate them and try to make them approachable and applicable. So everyone is a new adventure. And I would say a couple of years back, that went to a whole new level. You may know, and I don't know that your audience would know, my first 9 books were parables, business fables. And that's just a different genre. And these last 2 books, I have a new publisher, and he wanted me to write a more traditional book. In fact, now 2 of them. And so it went from a 20,000 word business fable to a 60,000 word leadership book with endnotes and references and data and research and an index. And it's just, so a whole new genre, which was great. I mean, for me, it was like I had to learn something new and different beyond the subject matter. I had to learn how to communicate in a new format and a new style. So I feel like I'm still on that learning curve, which is great.
But still great stories, great case studies, really draws people in. What about, before we get into, we're going to talk about culture, we're going to talk about leadership, we're going to talk organizations. But before we get into that, for the person who's listening, who thinks, well, I'm not a leader, speak to that person for 30 seconds so that we can calibrate them for the conversation.
Okay, I would say that leadership is a function, not a position. And it's a choice. And I don't think poorly of people that don't choose leadership. I think about my wife as an example, a brilliant, caring human being, and she runs if she thinks there's any leadership involved. She will serve a leader. She does not want to be a leader. That's her choice. And I want to honor that. And I want to honor that in anyone that doesn't want to lead, but you can, because it's attitude, it's a skill set, it's a mindset, it's behaviors and competencies that anyone can learn if they choose. And if they choose not to, then I would just encourage them to be a great follower.
Fantastic. And there's great awareness, emotional awareness in knowing, okay, maybe I'm not the leader, but I'm really good at supporting the leader. I'm really good at being number 2 or number 3. So that's fantastic.